the old school mentality of not allowing yourself to let go of those things will always keep you compressed and small. And small is sometimes good if that's what you like. Not everyone's gonna want that pressure or that lifestyle or that complexity of like figuring it out. But you gotta understand too, especially there's a lot of hungry kids out there, like younger guys that are just really crushing it. Allow yourself to delegate that, pass the baton on to the next person and give them that responsibility. Like give them that, hey, you know what? You've devoted enough to this company now, you can handle this. And that gives people opportunity for growth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stay Shannon, Stay Grinding podcast. My name is Carlos Castro, and I'm here with my co-host,
Jose Gallegos. What's going on, everyone?
All right, how's everybody doing today? How are you doing today?
Good. Back at it.
Yeah.
For a week.
Yeah. How you feeling this California sun right now?
Loving it.
Yeah. Right now we're in the middle of the California heyday sun. We like to record some of these episodes a little bit ahead of time, but right now we're in the middle of the heat and we're feeling it. We have an AC unit on the window here. It's a little loud, so I tried to noise gate it and try to make sure that we couldn't hear it, but in order to give you guys quality content and quality work, we had to shut it off. So we're gonna be cooking right now, but we're gonna be cooking with pure dedication.
Yeah. Cooking up some valuable information for y'all, straight out the oven.
Actually, we kind of started summer kind of late this year. We got a lot of rain this year, so it's a good thing, especially being in California, because last year we were in a drought and they were fining people and stuff like that for using water. So this year we're not dealing with any of that stuff. And one question that I have for yourself, that you are in the landscape industry, and I work with 3 other landscape companies, including yours. What do you guys do during this time to stay cool?
Well, honestly, I mean, for all you guys in the landscape industry, gardening, there's only one way to go about it, and big old hat, big old straw hat, big old sombrero hat. That's what I've always used. And I say sombrero or straw hat because I was never really a fan of like a bucket hat.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bucket hat was too small. It didn't really get coverage. Like you get a big old sombrero hat, and like it feels like you have an umbrella under you, like a beach umbrella. Like you literally just under a cloud.
Do you guys use any of those like cooling like mask or like things for your neck or like t-shirts, or like do you guys use any of those products?
Honestly, when I was my guys do now. I've seen some guys wear like a cooling thing for the neck and stuff. When I was in the game, like doing labor and cutting lawns and everything, there was nothing like that that I would even look into. I was just old school, just never used a mask, never used a face protection, nothing. Just big old sombrero. And what I did like to use, like my little formula was under like my shirt, my long sleeve shirt, I always just use a t-shirt, like a white t-shirt under. Because when I would sweat, it would collect the sweat. And then when there was a small breeze, bro, ooh, that thing was so refreshing. Man, that was like, and if you didn't have an undershirt, you wouldn't get that like cold refreshment of the breeze on the overshirt. So it was always that undershirt that was a game changer for me. So things like that. I mean, just keeping water, staying hydrated. A lot of sweatos. What do you say sweatos? Electrolytes.
Yeah.
Big on sweatos, it's not good, but Cheves, sometimes we would stop by 7-Eleven and have a little. Can bleep that out or what?
Yeah, I mean,
wait, it's
Yeah, I mean, I've worked
out here.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of companies now, and like yesterday, I had a job that I went to, and I only experienced very minimal sun yesterday, like 3 or 4 hours. I can only imagine what it's like for some of the guys that are there 8 hours every single day. I salute to the guys that stay out there, guys and gals, everybody that are out there just crushing it in the sun. Like I always think about that because like, I'm a part of the industry now, even even though I don't really work, the hard stuff, I just, show up with my camera and shoot videos and photos, but like I totally respect it a lot more now because of how much I've invested to it and how much
Mhm.
I see how hard people work. So yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. Right on.
Yeah. That's another way. And for all my trucks, I've I haven't built it, but I got a guy who welded on like those 5-gallon jugs, like
Yeah.
those Gatorade ones or whatever, the
Yeah.
big ones. So every single one of my trucks have one of those,
Oh.
and that just allows the guys it facilitates them to have water on
Uh-huh.
site. And strange enough, I to me that was always an obvious thing, but I've talked to guys like I just hired another guy from a lawn care, and he's like, "Hey, do you have water in the truck and everything?" I was like, "Oh yeah, there's a thing. You guys just got to stop by every time I fill it. It's like $1.25."
Uh-huh.
Like, "Oh, it's because where I've worked, they never provide us water. They don't
Wow.
have a tank. They don't have nothing." The guy's like, "You bring your own water. I'm not gonna waste my time going to the liquor store." I'm like, "Bro,
Wow.
you know what I mean?" And that's why. And then you wonder why people have a high turnaround. Like, you gotta treat your guys good. In the
Mhm.
summer, I'm one. You've seen when we record and I'm on site. Like, I always have the tendency of like showing up with Gatorades or the guys who like Monster or Red Bull. I bring them
Mhm.
a Red Bull, show up with a bag of Gatorades and everything. And it's just the little things that take it the down the road longer.
Yeah,
I'm always
especially in this summer heat. Like, the look on their faces when you pull up and you have a bag full of Gatorades and energy drinks. These
oh
guys are
yeah,
loving it. So yeah, I mean, if you own a landscape company and you're trying to figure out how to keep your guys happy, that's one of the big components. Especially when these guys are working hard, especially in the summer heat. They would definitely appreciate that Gatorade or Sweatle or
yeah,
energy drink just to kind of give them that extra push, and it teaches them to appreciate you more as an owner. And then instead of just rolling up and like your nice shirt and nice hat, like and just pointing and talking, telling them what to do, you kind of create a better relationship with your team, and they appreciate you more and they appreciate the company more. So
yeah.
and this goes to our topic that we wanted to talk about today. Jose was the one that came up with the topic, so I'm gonna let him segue the topic and kind of plan where he wants to navigate this ship.
Okay, well, guys, when it comes to growing your company, and we've talked about this, uh, how do you delegate, right? Like, how are you in multiple places in one time where there's only one of you? Like, how are you doing sales? How are you doing uh, project managing? How are you, doing customer service? How are you picking up materials? How are you, making sure everything is getting done at the job site? And it's something that it's a little struggling because sometimes you want to do it all. I know I wanted to do it all. I wanted to be there's always wondered how can I fucking replicate 10 of me, but that only happens in Hollywood, guys. Where they clone you. But
Oh, I know that's insane. I didn't even want to touch on that yet.
no, but yeah, so there's only one of us, right? And we want to do it all. And it's hard. It's harder, and the more you grow, it doesn't get easier. It's harder, it's all
Yeah.
the time. You gotta but I think it's important, and you tell me what you think. And I know you've already kind of experienced that point where you're hasta el full, you
Yeah.
got enough on your hands. You
What I'm going through right now.
Yeah, so basically you have to learn. What I've learned is trust other people and give them the smaller task or the task that that someone else can do better or more efficient,
Mhm.
or even as just as efficient. But like,
Mhm.
I've learned to hire a guy to just go around and deliver materials, right? They have a dump truck. They pick up materials and deliver materials. I've learned to get the project manager going. I learned to get the lawn care supervisor going. I learned to, have crew leaders and trust them to go on a route on their own. And it's something that honestly, like to this day, my dad doesn't do.
Mhm.
And I grew up on that.
Mhm.
My dad will not let go of his route. He's like, I gotta be the guy on the route. No one's gonna treat the route like I treat it. No one's gonna talk to the customers like I treat them. These guys won't get it right. These guys won't do this and that. And I know a lot of people could probably like say, "Hey, bro, that's kind of how my dad seems." Because the old school mentality of not allowing yourself to let go of those things will always keep you compressed and small. And small is sometimes good if that's what you like. Not everyone's gonna want that pressure or that lifestyle or that complexity of like figuring it out.
Mhm.
But you you gotta understand too, especially there's a lot of hungry kids out there, like younger guys that are just really crushing it. Allow yourself to delegate that, pass the baton on to the next person, and give them that responsibility. Like give them that, hey, you know what? You're you've devoted enough to this company now. You can handle this, and that gives people opportunity for growth. So
Do
talk about that. Like, what do you think?
do you feel like that's something that you need to do once you start, or do you feel like that's something you need to do once you start to realize your company is expanding? Like, at what point do you feel it's necessary? Because I know you kind of didn't take these initiatives like when you started, but you took these initiatives later on, and I'm by later on, you took these initiatives like just last year, right? Like where last
Mm,
year is where you started to kind of start to take that more serious. Before you would
yeah,
give people the position, but like, work would shift, things would change, and then they would kind of just roll back over to the
yeah.
original employment that they had. So now that you're experienced it for like about a year now, how do you feel about making these decisions, and what do you recommend to people when it comes to these decisions?
Well, yeah, I think early on, you can't. You have to get in there
Mm-hmm.
because well, it may be a bit different for many people, but you don't make enough money to pay for people to just do things.
Mm-hmm.
In the first year, the second year, you have to be and wear all the hats. You have to do all the tasks. You have to do all the jobs. I was, working till 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. even, and then I would get out of work and then I would go and meet up with the customer and give them an estimate. And I would go home and I would write up that estimate and I would write up the invoices. So in the beginning, just for the ones that are starting off, you got to put in those 12, 14, 16 hours a day just to make
Yeah.
shit happen. And that's what it took me for like, 3 years or so. And then even if I would, like you said, I would give the responsibility to somebody and say, hey, look, I had a crew leader, a foreman at that time, but I would always labor. I would be so labor intensive. Like I would be like, I gotta lead by example. I gotta get in there. I remember you and like other people like, hey, bro, like even the books I was reading.
Mm.
Going back to the other day, we talked about how I get the advice, but I don't really apply it that much.
Mm.
Well, I want to apply it, but it's hard for me to let go because my thing growing up was always getting hands on. Like being in there, getting in the work, like not being afraid of working with my hands. So this whole new thing of being the boss and stepping away from the labor was new to me. I didn't know how to accept that. I didn't know how to like, oh man, the guys are gonna be like, this motherfucker's lazy. This fool don't want to work because I started working at 11, 12 years old in this
Yeah.
for over till 28 years old, 29 years old. All I've known was to physically work and be a beast at working because I
Mm.
was I was really good at working and I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty. I wasn't afraid to get tired and I wasn't afraid to sweat and I wasn't afraid to get hurt at work. But when you're moving full speed like that and you have to tell yourself, "Hey, bro, step away from that." It's like, "Oh shit." So that was for me like the transition of, when going around, you have people that old school Hispanics, everything like, for me was like, what are they gonna think? What are they gonna say? I don't want to be like, oh, this fool's lazy. He doesn't want to grab a shovel no more.
Mm.
But you have to understand too that you have to drift away from it, and by you have to, I mean you really, really have to because there's a lot of other tasks pending and waiting for you that are way not more important, but they're really important because if you don't do those, the ship will start to sink.
Mhm.
And you got to stay afloat. You got to stay moving. You got to be the driver of the boat. You can't be pumping coal into the engine because who's directing the boat? You know what I mean? Like you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep directing your team. You have to keep growing and showing them that there's possibilities in your company by better job
Mm.
opportunities, promotions, and etc. So yeah, it was hard for me in the beginning, and I didn't know how to do it in the beginning. But now that I have done it, and we were on a good streak, now we got a little slower, but we'll pick back up. But I think for whatever reason, the concept is there. The formula is not perfect, but it's there, and I know where to start after when we pick back up and get
Or
moving
pick and
again.
choose. Yeah. I mean, I had that experience myself too. I've talked about it in the past where I had people help me, and you know, they had them take on certain positions and stuff like that. And I had a fallout. Sometimes I also think about it as it could have been my leadership skills maybe that may have made it crumble, or it could have just been, something that didn't connect. Um, in my case, my company's a lot smaller, so it's a little more difficult to kind of adjust as we go.
Yeah.
Everything has to be done, at the pace that it needs to be done. I need somebody to help me with, social media. I need somebody to help me plan the social media. I need somebody to help me edit the content that we create. I need somebody to create the content, and then also I need somebody to help with marketing. So I have 5 hats right now that I'm wearing myself, where I am editing, shooting, posting, managing, and marketing. And I am right now, like, I'm swimming crazy right now, but you know what? I kind of like that feeling too, because it makes me feel like it gives me value. Like,
Mhm.
I did experience like a few months ago where I did have people help me, and I got to a point where like it kind of got a little boring for me, because I was like, well, I don't have to worry about the social media. I don't have to worry about the managing. I don't have to worry about editing stuff. And all I was doing was just more of the marketing and shooting. And I shoot about, you know, 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and then for the marketing aspect, it's about maybe a few hours a day. So a lot of my time began to be and I had a little more time in my hands, but I remember at the same time too, I had to tell myself what's next. What do I need to do next? And people in our situation as business owners, once we start to delegate that position and those and give people those options to take control of that, we do have more time in our hands. And some people either decide to go one route by, saying I have more time in my hands, so now I get to do more of the stuff that I enjoy to do, like go on vacations or travel or do certain stuff. Or you go on the other hand, you say, okay, what can I do next to, grow my business and help it sustain? And that's the most important thing, is making it sustainable, because just because you delegate those positions to people and give people those positions, it doesn't mean that the ship will continue the same way.
No.
So, you know, as soon as that happened, I started to question myself, and I was like, okay, what can I do next? What can I do next? What can I do next?
Yeah.
And all I thought about was, start to market my brand. I didn't really market my brand. The majority of my clients at this point now have been word of mouth clients.
Mhm.
I haven't got to that space yet where I'm marketing my brand. And the only reason why I'm not is because I want to make sure that everything right now is under control.
Yeah.
I don't want to grow too fast, and I don't want to grow too high when not everything is
Yeah.
held together. So I'm gonna ask you another question. So when you decided to delegate these positions to people, at what point did you find it? I don't know if you've had multiple people take care of these positions, but like at what point do you feel it's necessary to say, I don't think this position's for you? Do you give people like 3 months? Do you have, you meet up with them every month? Like, how do you figure out if this person is the right person for this position?
So that, um, and to piggyback off, what you were saying earlier is I start with a, 3-month probation. I just kinda made up myself.
Mm,
I don't have a real formula for it, but I said, and since everyone I've promoted or everyone I like to grow from within, right? I never do any outside hiring for higher positions, but I start off with what's called a 3-month probation, and I tell them, "Hey, these are all the new responsibilities you're gonna have. A lot more responsibilities than just running one crew. So not a lot more responsibilities than just managing 3 people or 4 people. Now you gotta manage 16 people, 14 people, 10 people, whatever it is." Then obviously they commit and agree to it. They're excited. And I say, "Look, I want to see where you're at with this because number one, I know off the bat that they don't have the experience for it. So I have to kind of develop them and mold them into that.
mm,
So guiding them through that. So back to what we were saying earlier, and what I meant by picking back is like leadership. At the end of the day, everything falls back on us as the business owners. You know, I would love to say, oh man, it's just because it's you're the problem or they're the problem. No, at the end of the day, is we have to have accountability and say, what am I doing wrong?
Mm.
Am I not developing this person well enough? Am I not guiding him well? Am I not molding him right? Am I not having enough conversations with him? And picked up a book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Beautiful book, man. Like it just taught me uh, just how to really get into depth with the team and the team that's, the project managers, the supervisors, the crew leaders, and why are we dysfunctioning? There's a lot of you guys. We'll put the link in the book. I don't want to go too far in it, but that's what I do. A 3-month probation. 3 months go not as smooth as I want, but it's not just those 3 months because the development and the growth of the person continues far beyond that. So I haven't had to let anyone go and say, "Hey, look, you're not the right fit." Because honestly, sometimes I always feel like they're not the right fit. They're not. They're not. They don't have that experience. They don't. They never managed any other company. They never supervised. They've always had a 3-man crew, a 4-man crew. So it's different, and I push responsibility. So I always feel like right now, just because I'm barely into those stages where I have to delegate those things in order for me to get other things done, we're still in the situation where I'm like, come on, dude, you could do it. Just push harder. Just be, put your foot down. It's like be sweet but be sour. You know what I mean? Like it's a really hard balance, and I feel like they're getting it and they're growing and they're trying. They're putting their part. That's what I love, that they're not just dropping the towel. They're like, you know what? Okay, I got this. Oh, I didn't think about that. Or then even they teach me some things too, and I learn from it.
You had the experience of, actually, I just remember we were just talking about this. You did actually have somebody that quit on one of the positions. I want to say about a year, or no, like almost 2 years ago. You gave somebody the position to be the lawn care supervisor,
Oh yeah,
and they
yeah,
quit, right? They didn't
yeah.
quit, but they said, I don't want to do this. This is too much pressure. This is, too much for me. Which, if you really think about it, it's actually a benefit to be in that position. And, culturally, a lot of, Latinos and Hispanics, especially if you're, all is work.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're given this position that you're like, you don't have to work that hard anymore. You do become like, it's overwhelming because you're so accustomed, like you said earlier, about how you were just so used to all the time working, and then
Mm-hmm.
when you stopped, or when you had to accept the fact that you were no longer required to be doing that stuff, you were kind of shocked, like, what do I do? And you
Mm-hmm.
had a position, or you had somebody that you gave that position to in the past, and I think they only lasted, what, a month or two, like 2 months,
No more than 2 months.
and then they told you, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, I want my old job back.
Yeah,
What do you do in that situation?
you're right. So okay, that brings me back to that memory of that. So this guy, trust me, this guy was my first hire.
Oh.
20 you know, after no way after you helped me work for a while, right?
Mhm.
And then that guy was my official first like full-time employee that I had put on a route and he would manage my routes. So this guy's been around for a long time. I've tried to develop him, talk to him, and by now he should have been like hand in hand with me, like my right hand man, my guy who moves everything on, operations manager, something. And I always painted the picture and I gave him the vision. But you guys are gonna have sometimes people that just they're not they're in their mind, they don't feel for some reason like they're well off, they deserve that, or that they have the potential for that. And this is what happened with this guy in our team. Um all my guys know him for the same reason. They always tease him about it, like, bro, what the hell's wrong with you, bro? Like, and it's not that something's literally wrong with him. He's just that he doesn't want the responsibility. And that's gonna happen with a lot of your guys when you try to say, "Hey, bro, I want you to lead this team. I want you to be the foreman. I want you to be the crew leader." He's, oh no, no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that shit. That's responsibility. But there's other guys that are hungry that said, "Bro, I want more. I want more. What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
Who do I gotta handle? Who do I gotta manage? Who do I gotta put on check? Who do I gotta do?" So and this guy, when I put him on that, because the route was growing, I think at that time I had three trucks in lawn care. And I was like, hey, he was having issues with some guys, and he's the type of person he's never accountable. Oh, that guy's wrong. That guy's lazy. I would be like, hey man, what's going on? Oh, well, this guy and that guy. And I'm like, have you stopped and looked in the mirror and said, hey, how can you be a better leader? How can you be a better example? Oh no, no, no. It's these guys are ignorant. They're ignorant, they're stubborn, they got egos. And I'm like, no, no, dude, stop, reflect on yourself. So after that, I was like, hey bro, let's put you on supervisor. Well, you'll work alone, but you have to manage these people. Oh, perfect. That's amazing. Like I'm gonna handle that. Oh, this is for me. Tried it, and he came back saying, "Oh hell no, dude. I thought it was hard enough. Imagine 3 people, and I gotta manage 9 people.
Mhm.
What a headache." He's like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
So he didn't go back to lawn care because there was already conflict a little bit there.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm wrong for keeping this guy so long and always trying to comfort his situation. Because from there, I sent him over to landscaping. Was hanging out there for a while. Then he's like, la di da, same issue. Then I put him on his own landscaping truck and I said, hey, look, develop yourself, do this. He did that for about a year. Issues came up. Then I put him as next to my irrigation tech. So then I said, learn irrigation, human irrigation. So, you know, this guy has been here and there, here and there. And he had an issue with the irrigation tech guy that, he wasn't soft and the guy was too hard on him. And at the end of the day, he wanted to go back to lawn care. And I said, I don't have a spot for lawn care for you, bro. So what he does now is my other irrigation guy left. So I put him as irrigation. He works on his own and he checks irrigation in our properties and everything. That kind of seems like that's a sweet spot for him. He's alone. He's a solopreneur. He works for me, but like he likes to be solo.
He doesn't have to be in charge of anybody else or
Yeah.
so.
And he loves that. I think that's for him like his comfort zone. And then when we started growing, I started applying some paperwork, right? You got to fill out the paperwork. You got to take before and after pictures and stuff. And then that was an issue, right? Like, oh, I don't want to be doing that. Like, I'm, this and that. And I said, I got to the point where I was like, look, bro, you're on the ship or you're off of the ship. Like, that's just the only way to look at it. Like, if you see the trajectory of everything we've been through, you've been with me since like, and mind you, this guy used to work with me before I started my business when I used to work with my uncles. And so this guy's been around for a long time, 15 years probably. We celebrated my 21st birthday with this guy. He's been around for a long time, but it's just people that sometimes, they're probably not, I guess, fit for the position. And I told him at the end of the day, it's a you issue. It's not a me issue. I keep trying to put the opportunity I put the plate on the table for you. I put the plate on the table for you. You're not eating, bro. So, that's what he's now. And he pretty much quit because he got a little upset about the paperwork stuff. And then I said, well, that's fine. He called me back. He said, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be that ignorant fool and this and that. And I said, well, it's because, dude, I mean, it's not that I don't care for you, but it's just like, I got to keep rolling. I got to keep moving forward. And you're not joining us. You're trying to go against us. And he's come around. He's filling out his paperwork, and the same thing for him. He's a go guy. He's like, I want to work, 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 work. He wants to give me so much production with work, but I'm like, I need the paperwork. I need the files. We need to keep these records. Grab yourself an hour before you clock out or whatever, and go in the truck and fill it out. That doesn't make you lazy. That doesn't make you that you're not doing your job. That's part of your job.
Yeah.
That responsibility. So he had to also learn to accept, like, okay, so it's okay to sit down in the truck and fill out paperwork. I said, that's completely fine because that's what I need from you. So it's that guy is the only one that I've had to kind of move around and struggle to find his sweet spot, and we finally did. So it's working out good now. All the other guys are doing good. And now that I said irrigation tech, I mean, guys, when you're growing, like we said earlier, we can't do it all, right? And you said earlier you had five different hats, 6 hats that you're wearing. So for us, it's not that we add a service to it, but it makes more sense to have someone just take care of irrigation when you have a lot of lawn care accounts. Make some supervisor, your crew leaders take care of the properties. Because when you're doing large properties, you can't spend, if you're there for 4 hours, you can't spend another 2 hours walking around and checking irrigation. You won't have enough time for the next property. So learning how to and that comes as you grow. It's not going to happen. The demand, for me, the demand is what spoke for itself. Like the demand was there, we were growing, and I was like, okay, you know what? I got to put this guy to do this. Because I was already, I felt like a rubber band stretched as far as it fucking could. And that's when I said, you know what? I need to come back into my normal uh, size and just help myself by helping others. And I think that's what we did, and it's so far it's okay.
Not only have you put people in positions like on the field, but also off the field. You've given people positions to help you with a lot of the office work, admin work, and stuff like that, including myself. You know, you've given me the position to help with your social media, your marketing, and anything that has to do with online presence. You know, you've given me that position. You given me that position early on. You were a whiz when it came out to this because you're like, there's something going on with this. I don't know what it is, but I need to be on there. So, you know, it's not just on the field stuff, it's also stuff that's, you know, behind the scenes, you know, the paperwork stuff that, some other people are willing to do. And, you know, you were doing that yourself for a while, right? You were just literally doing the estimates, the invoicing, you know, the emails to the clients, the collecting the checks and all that stuff. You were doing that yourself, but then finally you decided to little by little give people the opportunity to take that, you know.
Hmm.
So, you know, if you're in a position where you're growing and you're in a position where you're starting to notice that you're stretching yourself too thin, maybe it's time to look at the bank account because obviously your bank account will be a little more filled than normal and say, where can I delegate positions and who can I give opportunities to? You know, you're better off trying to give that position to somebody and allowing them to navigate that and allowing them to show you where they can take it and giving them the control as opposed to you trying to control everything and you
Hmm.
trying to I'm going to learn how to use a camera because social media is the thing to be in right now. So I'm going to learn how to use a camera. So then you spend hours every week trying to use the camera as opposed to just hiring somebody to help you. So then, therefore, you don't have to worry about that task. You give somebody the trust, and then you can focus on the next thing to help your
Yep.
business grow.
I mean, early on, I saw what my weakness was. I am not a technology guy.
Hmm.
I'm an old school diesel with no fucking sensors in it, bro. I'm not a modern car with all these sensors, and I am old school as fuck. And when I saw that opportunity, I was like, "Yo, you gotta help me with this," because
Mm.
I did try for a while. I had the GoPro, and GoPro has an app. A lot of you guys use GoPro. It has an app where you just put some videos and pictures, and it would do it for you. And if I think they're are they still up on the social media page?
They probably are, but they're probably way down there.
If
Yeah.
you go way down there, like you'll see what I'm talking about. Like I tried to do that first, but then I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to get the work done. I'm trying to get the materials to my job site. I'm trying to invoice my clients because then I'm not getting paid. I'm trying to sell more jobs. I'm trying to do videography or editing or whatever. I'm
Hosting.
posting and I try to build my own website in the beginning. Like I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? Like this is not for me. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'd rather pay some extra money, push it to the side, and then now my energy is focused to where I can help the company grow and make more money.
Yeah.
And you said it earlier, and I did learn that from Alex Hermosi, where he was saying, "Look, it's not all about delegating and passing the baton, because then you're gonna be left in a position of now, what do I do? What's next?"
Yeah.
And it could get boring, like you said. It could get kind of like, but it's not to vacation, it's not to chill, it's not to kick your feet on the table and say, I'm the big kahuna here, I'm the big boss. No, it's to say ask yourself all the questions possible.
Mhm.
Where am I leaking? Where's, it's like a bucket with water, right? You got, it's leaking water. You need to start learning how to plug all those holes so you could eventually, it's a never ending tale, it's a never ending story, but eventually you're going to find a solution to all these leaks. But as a CEO, as the owner, as the operator, that's primarily your job. So I consider myself sales right now. I sell. I try to sell because I'm slow, but
That's a different
I
episode.
try to sell. So I sell, and then I try to see where I can make the company better.
Yeah.
And it does get boring. Trust me, I'm not an office guy. I never have. I have to now. I never say I never will, but I'm not. I love being outdoors. I love grinding it out. I love working hard. But this is what I have to do now.
Yeah.
And that's where discipline comes in because it's not like I don't. Oh, yee! I'm gonna go to the office and those. It's kind of like it's not. my cup of
I
tea, you
think
know?
you're more excited to be on the field
Oh
than you are
yeah,
in the office.
100%. But it's just what I have to get done. And if I slack off, guess what happens? No sales come in, no jobs come in,
Mm.
and everything starts to fall apart. So when you commit to passing the baton to other people, you gotta make sure that you yourself have duties and tasks to do to keep the company moving forward. You know, that's just what it is.
Yeah. I mean, right now, like I said, I am in a position right now where I am just taking everything by the storm. I'm okay with it. I'm not like overwhelmed yet, but I am now in a position where I'm starting to look for people to help me,
Mhm,
like, reopening that door again. And one of the big reasons why I'm so hesitant about it is because, currently we're moving. So it's kind of hard to, move and
yeah,
run a business and, be with the family and do things that I enjoy doing. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to reopen that door little by little.
mhm,
I've had reach out to some people and see what their position is and how they feel about it, and some people have offered help, and it's more of just the opportunity to just pull the trigger. I have the tendencies of procrastinating a little bit when it
mhm,
comes to certain things, and that's one of them. Just recently, I was talking to my wife about this, and she's like, you need to figure something out because you can't keep doing everything on your own,
yeah,
because then a lot of errors do come in. And there's things that you didn't touch about where like errors do come in when you start to do everything on your own because you try to do it fast, because you try to make sure that it's done at the time that it's supposed to be done,
mhm,
because you have another thing that you need to do right after that.
yep,
You don't pay attention to those extra flaws and those extra things, and that's why hiring people and putting other people in that position will help, because they'll make sure to check all the periods and all the words and make sure everything's correct, or make sure that the edit that they created actually is flowing consistently. You know, that right now, that's one of the things I'm dealing with right now, where
mhm,
it's like I'm literally taking everything by the storm. But I know for sure in the next few months or weeks, I'm gonna have to build a team again, because I've already gotten a couple of opportunities where I've met with other potential clients, and it's kind of hard for me to pull the trigger entirely, because I'm like, well, I have a lot going on my plate right now. Do I want to add two, three more clients
yeah,
to make it even more difficult? So
yeah,
it's an experience. I appreciate the opportunities I've been given. I appreciate the fact that I am fucking growing. It's
yeah,
amazing. I'm not even complaining about that. But at the end of the day, understanding to accept the fact that you can no longer control it, and it's hard because in my industry I have to make sure I duplicate myself. Not everybody that I do hire has to be like me and has to have the same style as me, but at least to have the same passion and drive and focus.
yep,
I think that's the most important thing, because how I edit a video is going to be very different compared to how somebody else edits a video. How I manage social media will be different now how somebody else manages social media, and so on. So I have to understand that I have my own talents and my own passions and drives, but the other person that I may be hiring or maybe we're looking to work with may not have the same mentality, but they can still deliver
mhm,
project how it's supposed to be delivered.
yeah.
So
You know, one thing about the beginning stages of like when you're doing it all yourself, it's it's a lot of work, a lot. Like you may be working too many hours,
mhm.
but when I used to work for when a family member used to work for me, and even that's how they've their formula. That's how they've done it their whole life. They love that because their thing is like, hey, no, don't hire people. Don't do it all yourself. Cause mira, toda la bolsa, everything is for the pocket. So to me, like I said, it's not for everybody. I mean, growth is hard, but I feel like growth is important. You know, you don't only develop your mind, you don't only develop your characteristics, your strengths, and everything. Life is a journey of learning and growing and becoming and evolving, becoming like a 2.0 version of yourself, 3.0 version. I think that's what life is. That's what God put us in this earth for, not to be the same person, you know, or whatever. And when they would tell me like, "Nah, it's all about profits. It's all about boom, 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 boom." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, but you're working these guys for freaking 12 plus hours. You're not paying them.
Mm,
You don't want to pay them overtime. You don't want to do nothing. You only thinking selfishly for yourself. You're never gonna build a team." And I saw that they've had 30 plus years in the game. They cannot manage to grow.
mm,
Why? You know, maybe they've done well for themselves. Like but I don't want to be remembered as the the motherfucker who juiced every drop of everyone who helped me
yeah.
and never helped them in return. And I get it. I have a family to feed. I have my kids that are growing up, but you can make it work where you think about yourself and others and everyone grows. I think that's just maybe I have a big heart like that. Other people only think about the pockets, which is good. Business is business, right? But I feel like there's a formula that you can help others. I've seen it everywhere. Alex Hermosi, Andrew Frisell, they've built this life. They've built this legacy of like where their team is winning, they're winning,
Mm,
everybody's winning. You know what I mean? So the formula is there. It's just we as early on in our stage, we have to figure that out. And trial and error is the only way to really figure it out because
yeah, that's true.
we could read a book, the book could tell us everything we do, but if we haven't experienced that level of adversity, it won't really make sense to us. But when we hit that level of adversity, we're like, oh shit,
Mm,
I remember I read about this and this was going to happen, and this is how I need to solve it. This is how I'm going to make myself better, my team better. So, yeah, it's just moving forward every day, learning, growing, um, accepting the growth for what it is, and then just learning how to work with the team, build the team, and making it functionable. Not dysfunctionable.
that's right. Well, it was a good episode. Anything else you want to say?
No, just don't get discouraged, guys. Build, whether it's slow, fast, medium pace, whatever it is, but just learn to accept the demand as it comes. Never be afraid to accept more work. I'm always the one. I recommend it too. It kind of works out. I accept first, then I figure it out later. It may be a good or bad thing, but when they're telling me, "Hey, can you handle this?" I'm like, "God damn right, I can." And then I turn around, I'm like, "How the fuck am I gonna do this, bro? I don't know how I'm gonna figure this out." But hey, look, the answers will always come if you're looking for them. Like they say, el que busca encuentra. And if you're looking for solutions, you'll find the solutions, and just keep it growing. Stay shining, stay grinding. That's the name of the game.
That's right. All right. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we hope that you're enjoying these episodes. We're going to be having some guests soon. We already have one lined up. And if you have anything that you would like us to talk about or touch about, please make sure to send us a message or give us a comment and let us know that, hey, we want to hear about this or what's your guys' insight on this. And yeah, so as always, stay shining, stay grinding.